In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how to turn your LinkedIn profile into a lead generation engine based on how we generated 660 leads for one B2B founder in less than 7 weeks. I'm going to tell you exactly how to set up your LinkedIn profile as a landing page that funnels your visitors further to your website and into booking call with you. I'm going to share with you the 5 post types that you can write to fill your content calendar for weeks without ever running out of things to say on LinkedIn. In addition to that, I'm also going to tell you where to source your ideas for your content so you can generate 5 posts every single week without ever running out of inspiration. And I'll show you what are some of the metrics that you should be gauging your content against. And stick until the end because I'm going to tell you exactly how you can get our free content engine OS and start writing your posts today without spending a dime. Let's jump in. So in the first part, I'm going to show you exactly how to set up your LinkedIn profile to convert visitors. On LinkedIn, whenever somebody clicks on your post, they're going to land on this page, which is called the profile page. So whenever somebody clicks on the post that you wrote, they're going to immediately go into this page, which is called the profile page. The first 2 things they're going to immediately notice is going to be your profile picture and your banner. Now let's have a look at what to do it properly. So first of all, one of the things that you really want to avoid whenever you're creating your profile picture is having either low quality pictures, just super common with people, having blurry backgrounds, having a weird facial expression. There's a bunch of different things that you can do wrong, but in order to do right, there's only really 2 options. One option is that you use a nice clean shot of yourself with a branded background. In my case, this is a shade of blue or a gradient of blue. Or you can use a neutral background. So that would usually be a white or a gray wall, just so that you have this contrast between your face and everything else. You don't want people to be looking at the skyscrapers. You don't want people to be looking at your dogs. You don't want them to be looking at your family or whoever else is in the picture. It needs to be you clearly stating who is the person behind the profile. When it comes to your banner, the easiest way to go about this is just state your value proposition in a few words. Keep the background branded, add some elements such as your logo, in my case, that's my signature, and keep it very simple. You don't want people to get distracted based on what you have. I saw a bunch of people having some skylines or they're having an unevenly cut banner, which just makes everything so much more cluttered. When you land on a landing page and you see, okay, this is the profile picture, these are the things that they're standing for. So clearly this guy is telling something related to LinkedIn, right? Your buyers are on LinkedIn. Are you probably something related to LinkedIn content? This is the reaction that you want to get from a visitor. And now either they're going to drop or they're going to follow along, right? This is exactly what we want. The next thing that jumps at us is the headline. The purpose of the headline is to clearly name your ICP and the outcome that you create in their words. You can either do it with stating your value proposition, such as building pipeline and LinkedIn content for B2B founders. Then you can drop some of your outcomes that you've generated. You can use some of your credibility. For example, if you're in Forbes, you can drop down your Forbes listed on Forbes. But what we really want to avoid with the headline is creating a cluttered version of it, where you're stating things like CEO, content whisperer, cat, mom, or using emojis, or just making clever statements. We want to be clear. We want to be telling exactly who we're working with, how we're helping them, right? We don't want people to think what you wrote in there. It needs to be immediately clear. Like, I'm building pipeline with LinkedIn content, right? This is exactly what you can expect from my content. And it's even more important because whenever somebody posts on LinkedIn, for example, Andre in here, you're going to see their headline. So Jesus is king. It's kind of a positioning statement if you consider that, right? If you're writing for religious buyers, perhaps that could work. However, it's not necessarily a headline that I would recommend. It's actually not the greatest headline. When we look at somebody else in here, this is super clear. Nigel Thomas, just Nigel, a little bit of a great background. We scale agencies to 100K months, 328 success stories, a perfect headline. We can scroll along. We have founder, Y can take capital, CEO, on-chain capital. So this is kind of the neutral headline that you can have in LinkedIn, which is simply stating what you're doing. Now, it's not going to hurt you in the same way that writing a clever headline or a funny headline would. This is not going to actively turn people off. But unless they already know your brand or you have some crazy credibility coming from the name, like working for Google or Facebook or whoever, then this is simply a wasted real estate and we don't want to be doing that. Next, after the headline, we have the features section. This is the prime real estate, the biggest place of real estate that you get on LinkedIn, where you actually get to show your offer. And in my case, I'm doing two things. I'm showing my own credibility here, right? So this is a testimonial from a client of ours where we generated over 600 leads in 7 weeks. And then there's a clear call to action: book your free one-to-one strategy call. One additional thing that you can add in there is a lead magnet. So anywhere from 2 to 3 featured section items are perfect. You can put in there a clear link to book a call with you, or if you're not going through a sales-led motion, then you can simply put a lead magnet in there next to some kind of a testimonial that you have. The About section is basically a long-form extension of your headline, and to be frank with you, not many people actually go through it. This is, however, useful for LinkedIn's algorithm in order for LinkedIn to rank you higher based on how well your posts match the profile page that you have on LinkedIn, right? So if you list your credibility from your past jobs, from your past businesses in here, or the results they're generating with your current business, by far even better, then LinkedIn is going to have a better time actually promoting your content to people outside of your network. Because I'm not sure if you guys heard, but in the last 2 years, LinkedIn has been shifting its algorithm to go from purely network-based to right now having something called an interest feed. So right now, whenever you're posting content on LinkedIn, it's going to land with the kind of people who are interested in the topics that you're writing about. So the About section can actually help with that. Not many people really read it. And the last one, which is a mini add-on in here, is having a second call to action button. So the primary real estate that I already said is the link that you can place in the featured section. However, you also have the option to place a visit my website or visit my newsletter or book a call buttons if you're paying for LinkedIn Premium. We're not going to talk about that, but it's also included whenever you get sales nav. And this is pretty much it about the content, the profile optimization. Now, why is it so important to have your profile optimized? Because as people keep scrolling through their content and seeing you in their feed week after week after week, whenever there's something that interests them, they're likely to finally click on your page. And whenever they do, they're going to land on your page and decide whether they're going to take action or not. So in the case of David here, he already has 75,000 followers and he's paying for LinkedIn Premium here. I have no idea why he's not posting an additional view my website button. It's simply wasting real estate. This is leaking leads in your funnel, David. So now that we have the content covered, what are we actually going to be posting about on LinkedIn? Let me walk you through it. So there are 5 post types that you can post on LinkedIn based on the angle of the value they're going to be providing to your audience. We can divide them into actionable value, thought leadership, lead magnets, personal story, and testimonials. Now, I've written hundreds of them in the last couple of months, and in 2026 alone, we've generated 1,200 leads for our clients. So all of these coming from inbound posts. I'm going to tell you exactly how to write each of these posts so that I get the most out of them. We're going to start with actionable value. So what is it? This is a post where you teach one useful thing that your ICP can apply today. It's usually a list. So we can talk about 7 things most SaaS companies are missing, or 7 mistakes the roofers are making when generating their leads. Roofers aren't going to be on LinkedIn, by the way, but let's say 7 mistakes that B2B marketers make with their Meta creatives. Anything that you can put into a list is going to be fantastic for actionable value, especially when the insights that you're giving to people is going to help them change their behavior and actually get better outcome. So let me show you the exact post. In this case, what we're sharing here is the 5 strategies that most SaaS companies are not using in their posts. And we're going through all these different points, right? So we're writing about multiple employees posting, right? In that case, employee thought leader ads. So all these different tactics on LinkedIn that this company is using, and they're doing absolutely fantastic on LinkedIn, right? I got a ton of engagement. I got a lot of saves. As you can see in here, I really reached a lot of people. Now, how do you write a hook for this post? Hooks are a completely separate topic, and I'm not going to cover everything about it right now because there will be too much to talk about. But basically, one of the proven hooks that I can use in here is, for example, 7 things that helped a particular persona get a particular outcome. Here's the list, something like that. That tends to work best. Now, post number 2 is thought leadership. And thought leadership is an idea that you're going deep on. This is your read on where your industry is heading. In this example, that's a post that we wrote for one of our clients. For Lachlan, it performed fantastically, especially for his size of the audience. And the reason it went so well is because it's talking about something relevant in the industry and giving Lachlan's unique take on it. So this one was about the requests for startups, which is the Y Combinator list for the companies that they're willing to invest in. In that particular case, it was about AI native agencies, which is very close to the actual service that Lachlan is providing. So he wrote, Y Combinator just published their latest request for startup lists. This category stood out to me. We're not going to go into that particular post because it's simply diving deeper into this idea relevant to your target audience. When it comes to hooks, we want to have something contrarian, either by saying you disagree with something or building upon the initial idea listed in the creative. So creative, obviously, very, very important. In that case, it's simply a screenshot of the request for startup list. And this is what it looked like. The third kind of post that we have are the lead magnets. And with lead magnets, you need to be very aware of whether your offer is a match for doing a viral giveaway post. As you can see, these posts can gather a ton of impressions, can get a lot of comments. However, these posts are usually written so that you get to attract people to comment a particular keyword in your comments so that you get to send them a DM after they send you a connection request. So you can build your network very, very fast, but be very wary of whether the kind of people that your post is going to attract are actually the kinds of people that you want to have in your network. Because if you dilute your network, you're actually going to dilute your brand. Who does it work for? If you're selling a low ticket service, or if you're trying to build a newsletter list as your primary offer that you're selling on LinkedIn, this is going to be fantastic. If you're selling to a very specialized niche or to a sophisticated buyer, such as high-level professionals, CEOs, lawyers, etc., you might not want to be using viral giveaway posts, so the lead magnets here. You can absolutely still come up with free valuable resources, but don't create the entire post around it. The better way to go about it then is simply share them in your comments. For example, let me show you. I've recently recorded a YouTube video similar to the ones that we have in here. And you can see I have this YouTube video in here. Instead of making the entire LinkedIn post about here is everything that I'm doing, here's how you can tell the same story 20 times and then making a post about how you can get this resource if you comment, I'm simply giving it away to everybody who wants to click on it, simply using the link. You can either put it in the comments in here, or you would be able to also put it at the bottom of your post. That would also work equally well, because that is not going to be a baity post. Baity posts are fine for a particular type of buyers. If you're selling a low ticket product, by all means, go for it. If you're not, if you're selling high ticket services, this might not be the best way to go for you. The fourth type of posts are personal stories. And now you might want to say, hey, but this is a professional networking site. Why do we even need to post any personal brand content? Well, the simple reason is, outside of sharing the actual tips that you can talk to your audience about, people at the end of the day buy from people. Especially so if you're talking to strangers who have never met you in person. And it's not some clickbait of what you're trying to do in there, but you're generally just trying to share a part of your personality to showcase your values. Showcase why should people trust you, who you are as a person. This is going to boost all the other posts for you. Now, when it comes to how much of that you should be doing, I would say once every week to once every 2 weeks is the sweet spot. We don't want to be doing much more than that, because then you risk going for becoming an influencer on the platform, which generally is not the fastest way to make more money on the platform. Wouldn't recommend that. And the last type of posts are the testimonial posts. And in this case, what we're doing is we're simply showing the proof. We're trying to tell a story about how we got a particular outcome for a client or a customer. If we're selling a product and clients are getting results themselves, they're simply showcasing them what capabilities or what features of the product actually help them achieve that particular result. Bonus points if you can actually get a video or a screenshot of a message with that particular client, if you can tag them and they can interact with you. In that particular case, this post went semi-viral because one of the creators, one of the biggest LinkedIn influencers, actually commented under my post, which was very, very random. I actually haven't spoken to her before. And one of the things that this kind of content does is, when we've already built all the other post types, right? So we're giving a lot of value to people. We're sharing our takes on the industry. We're giving them free resources or not, depending on the type of service that we're offering. And we're sharing our personal stories. We then sprinkle in the actual results that people are getting. And again, not more than once every week to once to every 2 weeks. we're going to have amazing results with our content split. So the last word on the 5 content types, how much of our content should roughly be going into each of these post types. Our actionable value should be around 50 to 60% of all of our posts. So if we're posting 5 times a week, it should be about actionable value for our followers. Thought leadership should be about 1 post a week. This is exactly where we're going deeper into industry takes. Lead magnets, depending if you're doing them. If you're not doing them, it could be 0. If you are, in that case, what we want to do is we want to be posting about 1 lead magnet a week to 1 lead magnet every 2 weeks. And with personal stories, the same. So once every week to once every 2 weeks. And so with testimonials as well. Okay, so now that I've set up our LinkedIn profile for success and we've covered the 5 different post types that we can be posting on LinkedIn, let's walk through where the ideas for the content should be coming from. So the hardest part by far of posting your content on LinkedIn is actually coming up with the ideas themselves. Why? Because if you're trying to think about what you're going to be posting about without a proper system, you're going to be staring at a blank page for hours every single week. I've worked with the founder last month who was spending about 3 hours every single day to write a post. She was only able to get basically 1 post a week out. Now, since we implemented changes to her workflow, she's now able to post 3 to 5 times a week consistently because she's not spending so much time writing her posts. So, first of all, where do the ideas come from? You can either repurpose what already exists. If you have some other content, let's say you have YouTube videos like in here, if you have Instagram posts, if you're posting on Facebook even, if you have a newsletter, or if you have any, or blog, or any other source of content, you can more easily than not repurpose this into one of the 5 posts that we already had above. It's probably not going to cover everything and be very selective to where you're actually repurposing, but this is the fastest way to actually have your ideas turned into posts. The best way that I found so far, and that's after working with multiple clients and after interviewing over 20 founders on a podcast, this is the content interview. And the way a content interview works is it compresses the time required for you to think about the ideas of posts from hours every single week to about 1 to 2 hours a month. The way it works, when you're getting interviewed, you're not actively thinking about the ideas that are generating, you're passively thinking because you're being prompted about specific topics that you should be writing about. Now, if you have a proper content strategy, as we've outlined, we have the 5 content types, have our profile page optimized, and we know what we're posting about as well. And second, till the end of this video, because I'm going to tell you exactly how you can outline for yourself with our free publicative content OS system. Then you're going to be able to turn these transcripts into post ideas with AI or by yourself, and then write the final finished drafts that you can then upload to LinkedIn. Very, very important. I would not recommend you to write your posts by hand from scratch every single time. This is not the best way to go about it. Now, what does good looks like? So until March 2026, we've had something called the Shield Index. It was made by the Shield app, which was an engagement tracker for LinkedIn. Unfortunately, the app went down, and this was the last index that they published for March 2026. But looking at what reach used to be 2 years ago, we can see where the trend is going, and it's definitely going downwards. However, your general impression benchmarks are going to depend on your follower count. So if you have anywhere between 0 to 1,000 followers, you can expect a typical, so a median post is going to get 160 impressions. If you have 1 to 5K, it's going to be 470, and so on, as you can see on the screen right now. Now, this is what I'm showing you for you not to get discouraged that if you have a smaller following, you're not necessarily getting great reach the same way that people in the highest follower count are getting. However, something very important to see here. Even if you barely have any followers and you write a top 1% post, as you can see in here, breakout P99 better than 99 out of 100 posts. You're going to get more impressions from the platform than the median post from an account with over 100,000 followers. So basically, the biggest guys on the platform, their median post is your top 1% post. So it's very much still worth it. And you can very much get a lot of reach on LinkedIn because it's now optimizing for the content clusters. So what is it exactly that you're credible to talk about, as we talked about in the profile optimization section? If your profile says exactly what you're doing and you're writing content about your topics where you can showcase your expertise, if you had some of that virality, you're actually able to get a lot more reach than any other creator, even with far more followers on the platform. Cool? All right. So, cool? All right. So, now, as I promised to you in the beginning, I'm going to show you exactly how you can get the free Content OS, which is a system that we've built for our clients. And now we're giving it away for free to everybody under this video, where you can basically take everything that we've learned about today, so the different post types, how to optimize your LinkedIn profile page, and you're able to start writing posts to actually get going with the platform. And the only thing that you need to do is you need to go to publicative.com/content. It's going to be a link in the description below, and you're going to hit 3 steps. So first of all, you're going to click copy, and you're going to copy the repo. You're going to open it in Claude Code, and you're going to prompt Claude, let's start with my Publicative OS system. And Claude is going to take you away from there. You can also do it with Codex and ChatGPT, but I actually do recommend using Claude for writing your own content. So guys, if you found this video valuable, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you found this content OS valuable, you're going to find it in the description below. So feel free to check it out. Let's get you going on LinkedIn. Start posting and let me know your thoughts about how your LinkedIn journey has been going in the comments below. I'm super curious to hear it. Until the next video, take care.